So I'm off Adderall for the first time in probably like 2 years because I'm irresponsible and my pharmacy sucks. So I couldn't get a refill. So I figured I'd talk about the effects it's had on me personally as well as other things it kind of fixes or affects that most people might not talk about. I'm doing this on the fly as well, so no telling how I'm going to edit or structure this, but I don't really care. So speaking of caring about things in general, I have ADHD as well as ASD, so I'm very particular about what I care about or what I can even choose to care about really. And that kind of brings me to my first point. The biggest way it affects me is my ability to at least pretend that I give a shit about something. So if something's tedious or I know it's working up towards something, I'm able to invest more time and focus into said thing, even though if I was off of it, it would be completely unbearable and I'd rather throw myself off a cliff. So I wouldn't say it's my attention span, but it's more or less if I'm self-invested into whatever it is I'm hearing about or interacting with. Like some people I can listen all day about them ramble on about nothing, and some people I just immediately go on autopilot until I hear the change in tone and I know I have to answer in some generic way. And it was always hilarious to me how people say TikTok and things like short form content are like a weakness for people with ADHD, but my ADHD is so bad apparently that I can't even comprehend short form content. Like I think it's a stimulation thing for my ASD as well. There's so much going on in such a small amount of time that your brain can't really comprehend what's going on fully. So I'd much rather scroll endlessly for like an hour just to find something that's 30 minutes long that I can invest my attention to, or at least have on in the background and kind of like subconsciously take in, because it's like a state of nirvana if I could actually find something that I enjoy for a prolonged period of time and just kind of turn my brain off from wanting to seek other forms of stimulation. I'd say another big way that it affected me is emotional control, which I feel like a lot of people don't really talk about, because ADHD is also a dysregulation of all types of control, right? It goes from attention, but it also goes and spans into emotional control. Like people might feel more powerfully about something in a condensed amount of time or a more prolonged period of time. And if you have it, you know exactly what I'm talking about too. It'll definitely hit you before bed, and people wonder why we have such bad sleeping patterns. It's because usually those emotions tend to spill out right before bed because it's when we lack stimulation the most. So that's when our brain is just like, all right, time to process things. And then the voices sound like a parade trying to get you to comprehend what you've been feeling throughout the day. Or my favorite, when people say there's the whole fight, flight, and freeze, I definitely get stuck in the freeze a lot more. When something happens in a split moment of time, my brain kind of shuts down and I'm unable to really comprehend how to react or feel or anything. And I'm pretty open about being a crybaby, it is what it is. You gotta get your emotions out somehow, right? And just to keep this video short, to help with my attention span and process and editing this, I'll go ahead and finish it up with a third and final one for now. So I definitely have to say it affects my routines and habits, or just how my day flows naturally as the day progresses. A big thing that always affected my lifestyle, back before I got started as well as now I've noticed, is I have to constantly sleep, or I feel the constant need to take many micro naps throughout the day, just to keep my brain functioning and willing to continue. Like staying up throughout an entire day, let alone being productive, has always been absolute torture to me, which is why just finding simple jobs is such a fucking struggle. Like if they don't have leniency on me, it's really hard for me to perform up to my abilities half the time. That was the one saving grace throughout high school when I decided to do good, and you get good with the teachers, and they can kind of vouch for you. I'm just like, look dude, if you let me sleep and just do whatever I want, I will make an A in your class, guaranteed. So once I got the one to vouch for me, they let the other ones know. So then I was essentially just sleeping all day, doing what little classwork and homework I had to do when I fucking aced the classes. But before then, they would always bug me and pick at me and shit, so that was always annoying, so it made me want to do even less work. People with ADHD are extremely petty, and we will hold grudges. Don't let us fool you, we try to be nice to everyone, but if you do something that pisses us off, we're gonna remember it. Oh, but what was it saying? Oh yeah, routines. So it definitely is a lot easier to lock into a routine when you're medicated. A lot of the tasks throughout the day can be extremely tedious and kind of mind-dumbing, so it helps have something to kind of take the edge off and let your mind go on autopilot and not think too much, right? Because that's really what it comes down to. You just overthink second to second and you don't realize how loud your brain is until you take it, and then you realize, oh yeah, the voices are quiet. I could actually do what I need to do today. So staying up and functioning throughout the day is definitely much more viable if you're medicated. So if you find yourself struggling pretty much moment to moment, day to day, and you can't really figure out why, well, that's probably why, I'm gonna let you know that. I was hesitant to start, but I'm glad I did gigs that at least got me through a period in my life where things weren't headed in the right direction where I wanted them to go. And then once I got medicated for the first time, I'm like, oh wow, I didn't know ADHD and stuff affected you like this. All right, you know, they just barely told me about it in school. They just said you had it. They didn't explain to me what it does or how it affects your lifestyle at all. But then again, I was part of the generation to where they were trying to figure out what it even was. Like, they ran a bunch of weird experiments on me throughout my school days trying to figure out what was effective. So, but yeah, I thought I'd do a little spontaneous video just in case anyone was curious about, you know, how it affects you and if I would recommend it to anyone, you know, maybe going through similar stuff, or you're just curious because you're a psychology type person and you're always curious about how it affects the human mind. But I thought this would be a fun little video to put together real quick. But yeah, if you found this topic intriguing and you want to hear any more, just let me know and I'll see what else I can put together real quick. Like I said, I hope you could tolerate the video because I'm in no condition to want to edit like I usually do. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed and y'all have a good one.